Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well wherever you are. Today we have a bit of a special video. As you can see, we're looking at a website today, rather an archived version of the website. This is going to form one part of the video, and in the second half, I'm also going to look at some of the flash files that are on this website but no longer work. I'm going to be using software to look inside of them, to see, the sprites that were used, because that's, instead of playing the game, that's probably the next best thing that you can do. Before I get into that, let me just mention the links to, I'm going to put a link in the description to this website, the archived version of this website. You can actually see this link right here. I'm also going to use FFdeck. It's a software. I'll include a link to that as well. And lastly, if you're using a common browser like Chrome, Firefox, or Safari, more likely than not, when you go to this link, it's not quite gonna load some of the Flash content. What I'm using right now is a browser called Pale Moon. It's based off of Firefox, and basically the reason I'm using it is it still allows you to play Flash content. So if you'd like to use that, you can just Google Pale Moon. You'll be able to easily find it, with only caveat being, there are some, you want to be a little bit careful. You don't want to visit any strange websites if you still have your Flash plugin enabled. But that doesn't go only for Pale Moon, but that goes for any sort of browser you might be using. Okay, so let's get started. So this is the Xevoz website. My other video on Xevoz provides a little bit of information about this. Just really quickly, it was a line of miniatures. They were only out for about a year before they were pulled. And I think actually quite a bit of people who are fans of this might not even know that they had a website, which is kind of strange because I was the opposite, where I never actually played with the toys or the figures, but somehow I found this website, probably recommended by a friend or someone else, and I played the games on this website. So let's talk about it. Actually, I should probably introduce Wayback Machine really quickly. For those of you who don't know, Wayback Machine is a really cool service provided by the Internet Archive. What you can do is just Google Wayback Machine, and you can view archived versions of websites if they've been saved. Obviously, they don't have every single page that's ever been on the internet. That would be insane. The current version of the website we're looking at right now, you can see right here from the date, it's from July 24th, 2004. There are other versions of this website. If you look at the timeline, let me just double check to see you guys. Okay, yeah, okay, you guys can see that. Basically, the higher the sort of peaks that you see, it just means more captures were taken during that month. So not necessarily, but it sometimes is the case that if there are more captures of a website during a particular month, it might capture more of the assets on that page. I'm using a very early version of the website. If you go a bit too far, like into 2008, it actually redirects to a random Hasbro page. So I think that more or less means, they eliminated this website 3-ish or 4-ish years after it debuted, which was, I guess, a couple of years after they were officially discontinued. Another interesting thing, you'll notice that there are archive pages in the much closer to the current time, and that's basically people who are trying to find archived versions of this website, and in the process they accidentally sent a archive request. Sorry, just some preliminaries to go over. So this is the Xevoz website. If you notice, there is this little like broken page icon. As you can probably tell, this is either, it's probably some sort of Flash content or Java content that was either not saved when this page was archived, or for one reason or another just isn't working today. Let's talk about the left-hand corner. This was probably one of the cooler parts of the website. I think it's probably the thing that drew me the most when I first saw this. Is basically on this website, as you interact with the various media that they have here, you'll earn a currency called Zeds. Those Zeds are saved to your account, and with that, you could basically make your own online figurine, just like in the real life miniatures. Never actually played with one, but I assume this is the case. You can basically take off different pieces of warriors and then put them on whichever one of your figurines, so you can sort of mix and match. And that's exactly the same here with your own account. Obviously, you can't log in anymore, but once you logged in, I'm pretty sure, although like with many things, this was what, like 15, 16 years ago, my memory could be off, you would have this like little icon here of your character, and I'll show in a bit basically how you could earn these points and how you could actually outfit your character. Any interesting thing to notice here, there's an assert notice right here. It says it's privacy certified. This was copyrighted in 2004. Again, we're looking at a 2004 version. I've also already saved a bunch of tabs up here. I'll explain why in a second. So this is basically a really early version of the website. If you look at the right hand side, you also notice there's a bit of news here, one of which I think is quite interesting. It says, you could win $1,000 in the Xevoz/Zipster Make Your Own Movie contest. All the parts and new Tough Rewards just arrived, don't miss it. And this just says more downloads. And these arrows don't seem to work anymore. Yeah, so that brings me to another thing. Another interesting thing is, from what I understand about the Xevoz marketing and sort of sales campaign, it didn't do very well, which is why in only about a year they sort of shuttered the project. But you know, if you're looking at a website like this was for what, 2004. This took quite a bit of work to do. In fact, this was done by a Seattle firm. I talked a little bit about this firm in the description of my other video. Basically, this was just a firm that was used to working with companies, you know, entertainment companies, and building them a multimedia website. I assume, you know, this doesn't take a small amount of work, especially for 2004. I think this is quite impressive. So I'm not really sure why there seems to be like kind of disconnect between how much they spent, you know, on making this website as well as the actual sales of the figurine. One more cool thing, let's see if it works. This top banner is actually a Flash file, and hopefully you can hear the sound of that. That there's these little sounds that pop up when you click on these icons, or sorry, when you mouse over them. So this is the unnatural. These are the hyper furies. Okay, it's kind of finicky right now. Doesn't want to show me this next one. The meta beasts. Let's see if this works. The Neo Sapiens, sectoids, and the Biomecha. So these were, I think they're all of them. They're basically all of the different factions, all the different groups that your Xevoz warriors could be from. And I don't think anything actually happens if you click on these. Okay, never mind, I lied. let's wait for a second. So basically, anytime you click on one of these links, okay, yeah, so this is a error code from the present. Anytime you click on a link on one of these archived websites, it'll try to link that up to a archived version of where it would normally lead to in the present, at the day the same page was archived. Sorry, I know that's not a really good explanation, but basically some of these archived websites don't capture the entirety of the website. If that's the case, Wayback Machine will try its best to link to the same destination, even if that was a little before the page was, or a little bit after. So it might not be exact one-to-one, sort of correspondence. All right, so let's look at this version of the website. This is a bit later. This is in November. As you can see, this one shows up a bit better. Another thing that shows up is there's a top players list right here. It's always a good way to motivate people to spend time on your website. Obviously, you don't see any names here. And in fact, I think if you were to go to any one of these other archived versions, I don't think you'd actually see top players here. What was previously on the left side, which you weren't able to see, are basically 5 major links to different parts of the website. First part of this is build/battle. Build is kind of obvious. Basically, you alter your avatar here using parts you've unlocked. Battle was probably the coolest part of the website. Basically, if my memory serves me correctly, and it's not too, I don't have any weird false memories from 15 years ago working around there. The way this would work is each item would have specific stats associated with it, and I think the game would basically choose an item or choose a component, so it might say weapon, and both you and your opponent's weapon would be rolled for on the stat column. I think this is how I remember it. From what I think the way the actual game works in real life, right, is you have these characters and they each have their own specific die. I think that's basically how they try to decode it here on this website. The battle part doesn't actually work. In fact, let's try clicking on it. I need to change my page. Let me do that in OBS really quick. So what you see here is basically a loading screen that's never going to go away. The second half of this video, I'll actually go into each one of these SWF files, including some of the later games that we're going to see, and you can, at the very least, you can see some of the sprites they were using. Basically, the content doesn't really work too well. There's a number of possible reasons for that. I'll go over that in a bit. Parts exchange. This was the shop, I believe. So with Zeds, again, Zeds are this currency that you gain when you play games on this website. This is where you can buy items, which you can then use to build your character in battle. World of Xevoz and Zed Arcade. Fun stuff. World of Xevoz, I'll actually already have a page opened up. I'll show you that in a second. Zed Arcade is where they had a bunch of little cute flash games which you play for Zeds. Fun stuff, just like screensaver downloads, which were all the rage back in the day. Yeah, and so you see these are the real life die that you used with with your figures in real life. Let me see. I wonder if So this is parts exchange, and I think if you look at the bottom, it says JavaScript, something, basic pop-up, blah, blah, blah. And if you go here, yeah, it basically links to the same thing. All right. So actually, this is the Zed Arcade. Let's just talk about this thing. So you can see here there are 6 games, 6 different Xevoz games. There's actually one more Xevoz game. In fact, the one Xevoz game that's not shown here is actually the only game, I believe, that's still fully intact, and that's Xevoz Challenge. Yeah, Xevoz Challenge. If you just Google Xevoz, sorry, not Xevoz Challenge. Why did I say that? Xevoz Showdown. I think it's called Xevoz Showdown. If you Google that, you can still find this game. Here you can say, if you see, it says want to earn advanced parts. It's simple. The more you play, the more Zeds, which are interestingly an abbreviation for Xevoz earn dollars. You can just, buy more stuff. The only games I really remember, I don't remember playing the Xevoz Graffiti, the Xevoz Excavation, or the Xevoz Decoder games. I'm trying to remember anything. I might have played the Xevoz Excavation game. As you can see from like the thumbnail here, there would basically be like a grid, and if I remember correctly, it's like Battleship, where you click on a grid and you're trying to see like, oh, can I find this part of the Xevoz warrior here? And you basically try to do that in a certain amount of steps. So let me get some water real quick. I'm talking a lot. I know I should probably just edit this out and do several takes, but I'm lazy. I don't want to do that. Sorry. Anyways, Xevoz Graffiti. I don't remember this at all. If you look closely, it's like a sphere with different characters on it. If you look at this corner, this looks like the Neo Sapiens logo. Kind of interesting. Kind of looks like I don't know, an orbit or something. Xevoz Decoder. It's kind of obvious. If you look at the bottom right here, you can see they actually came up with a Xevoz language, quote unquote. It's like a script. I assume these were on the actual merchandise as well, on the actual real life characters, but again, I don't know. Let's talk about these two games. So Xevoz Descent, this is basically like a pachinko or a bagatelle game. You have a ball at the top, press a button, it goes down, try to earn points. I think that's how it works. Xevoz Xcellerator, it's like a slots game. Is that the wisest thing to be teaching children? I don't know, but basically try to line up the symbols here. I think this is a bomb symbol, which you obviously don't want to get. You obviously want to line up 3 of the same faction, quote unquote. And lastly, Xevoz Challenge. I played this game on my channel. The problem with this is you can only play the mummy, you can't play the gunslinger, and you actually can't play the final level of the mummy for some reason. And all 6 of these, I'll go over each of them and show you sort of the really cool sprites, and maybe that will give you a better idea of how these games are played. Alright, next. Actually, wait. Oh, I'm curious to see if this actually works. Okay, it's loading. Never mind, it doesn't work. Basically, this basically just loads into the build/battle button. That doesn't work. Hopefully you guys can hear that. I'm gonna press the replay button, but I don't think it's gonna load. This is probably an SWF file that's loading here. This is the multimedia part of the website where they have like, you know, videos and info. Does species work? I guess not. Does character data work? Okay, so none of these seem to work. I'll try and see if this actually is an SWF file. I'll see if I can load it up. But next, I think, yeah, so here's another part of the website. They have comics. This arcade games actually leads back to the Z Arcade. The game here shown, I think, is the Xevoz excavation game. The Xevoz category, or sorry, gallery. I think it's just real life pictures of the miniatures. We have webisodes, which I don't think work anymore. Let me see if I can load up these pages, as well as the downloads page. Let's look at this real quick. Yeah, this just leads to World of Xevoz again. Oh, well, at least you can see that little animation. See if these wallpapers still work. Oh, looks like, yeah. So you can see, got these really cool. I actually think some of this art is actually really, really cool. Let me see if it actually loads up in 10. Wow, it actually loads. Oh, that's amazing. There's something like kitschy, but also like really cool about this. I'm not gonna do it right now, but I'm gonna save all of these. And I think this one just won't work. I think this one just was never clicked on, was never archived. Oh, never mind. I lied. It does work. Let's see, what is this one? I want to load this one as well. Come on. So this is Inferno Fury. He's actually part of one of the Xevoz games, Xevoz Showdown. And I'm like, wow, wait. Isn't that cool? I am not saying that sarcastically, by the way. I do think this is pretty cool for 2004. Alright, lastly, there is actually a comic. I've never read this comic. Just something that I rediscovered while I was looking again at this website. There's only one comic right now. This Prelude to Xevolution. I'm not actually going to read it out because my voice is kind of giving out. But I'll stop here for a second and you can pause the video. Then I'll stop here as well. Then I'm going to press, see if these other pages work. I'm not sure if they will. Oh, it looks like it. Yep, it works. Okay. I'll stop here for a sec. And scroll down. Right. Go to the next page. And of course, you can explore the website on your own in the future if you want to reread this in a more optimal format. The Sky Grinder. Holy cow, what's he doing now? I don't know, dude. Let's just go to the 6th page, see what's there. I guess it's like the Neo-Sapiens, or the, what are they called? The Biomecha. Another thing, do these, like, normal humans actually exist in, like, the world of Xevoz out in any other content? That'd be something interesting. Okay, I will pause pause for now, and then when I'm back, I'll show you the FF deck, or it's basically a software program that lets us look at sprites more closely. Alright, so I'm back, and I've loaded up two really cool files. One of them is the Xcellerator, the slot machine thing, and the other one is going to be Xevoz Descent, which is about dropping, the balls. First off, what do I have here? I'm using a program called JPEX Free Flash Decompiler. Why might you want to use this FF deck? That's the name of the software. Why might you want to use this? Well, even if an SWF file, which is the output, the thing that you actually want to look at, even if that file doesn't work, as you can see on this left-hand side, what this is doing is it's sort of deconstructing all of the little components that go into that SWF file, and you can actually look at them, and that's exactly what we're going to do. It's not just looking like images, but it also includes actual frames, actual animations, as well as sounds. I'm not going to pretend like I'm some sort of programming master. I'm not. I know a little bit about programming, but that's about it. Other cool things about this, I think the way it works is, notice here there's something that says export to FLA. If I remember correctly, FLAs are the actual code files, and then once you're done with your FLA files, you would export that into an SWF, and the stuff that we as players or watchers actually consume is the SWF. So if you want to go back and forth between FLA and SWF, presumably this is what you could use something like this. It's also a debugging and running functionality for the code. Yeah, so cool things to check out if you're more interested in Flash. Maybe in the future I'll actually learn how to code in Flash and actually how to sort of fool around with these files. But today I am just a complete layman. Okay. Also, as you can tell by the name, it's a free decompiler. So you can just Google it, you'll probably be able to find it. So what was Xcellerator? If you watched the earlier half, sorry, there's something, okay, I fixed it. If you watched the earlier half of the video, there was a slot machine game. In fact, let's look at these shapes. You can see inside of the code file, they've defined a bunch of shapes. To go through it faster, they actually just use the scrolling thing on the right. So yeah, it's a slot game. This shape right here is more or less the main screen of the game. There's 3 lanes here. Each lane would basically show an icon. You're actually trying to get 3 of a kind. What you can see here is they're basically drawing the shape of an item, and this is actually one of the items that your avatar can equip. These are like the pieces, the components. So they're sketched out, and you'd basically win these if you got a good roll. This is I think one of the Neo Sapien guys with like the soldier helm. I think this is a soldier arm. I could be wrong. This is one of the, what are they called? There's the Beast faction. This is his head, his arm, and so on. And I think part of the reason to play this is, if I remember correctly, at least they said that some of these items you can only get by playing this game instead of just buying it from the shop. Let's see if they have any weapons. Look at this, that's kind of cool. you can also see here, these shapes are actually the thing that you'd be rolling. So these three shapes are just, this is obviously a bomb. You probably don't want this, I think, although I don't remember too accurately. The sword and the star icon, I think you just get Zs if you roll them. This X is maybe like a jackpot, like the 7 in the slots. And if you get 3 of these, I'm assuming maybe then you would get an item from that faction. Notice there's like this big spin button. There's an error button right here. There's a congratulations button here. And actually, we're going to look into frames that actually use this. So let me scroll back up real quick. Another interesting thing, let me double click on this. To animate the scrolling thing, they'd basically use this shape, this one, and this one. Right, so those were the shapes. These morph shapes, if you click on them, notice that they animate here. Nothing too particularly interesting here. These would basically be like text pop-ups that would tell you like, oh, congratulations, you won something, or these are the instructions. Press play to actually play, and so on. Let me look at these sprites. If you actually download a file of Xcellerator and you try to play it, you're basically going to see this over and over again. And maybe we'll actually go into the code and you'll see why that may or may not be the case. Let's see if this actually animates. Yep, see this? It's kind of cool. Let's get another one of these. What's this? So this is 3 slots rolling. Let's see, it's pseudo randomly, I guess. It's not really randomly doing it. There's a bonus key here, and a bank. And again, the reason why we're looking at this is because the game doesn't actually work. Text, logged in. You need to log in. Into play. Xevoz slots. Username 09000. I'm assuming these are Zs. This is saying you want a rare power part. Go to your inventory to check it out. And welcome to Xcellerator. This is a game where luck is more important than skill. Do you feel lucky today? Notice here on the right hand side, you have the code here. The X and Y min and X, Y max, I am assuming, are the dimensions of the box. The font is probably the font they're using. Color, obviously color. This is where they're actually inputting the text, as well as the X and Y coordinates are just where the text actually shows up, rather. More images here. Sounds. I've turned my sound down. You should still be able to hear them, but they shouldn't be too loud, hopefully. Spin, stop. That spin stop was kind of annoying. I don't know if you can hear that, it's kind of low pitched. That sounds kind of cool. Kind of an ominous sound, this 816 and 711. More buttons, winning, how to play, parent info, oh boy. FAQ, close, more close buttons. If you're ever interested in looking at the font Xevoz uses, it's this medium. Now you know, if you ever want to make a font that looks like Xevoz. Frames. this might be the interesting part. So we have a loading frame here. Notice there's a plus button here. Press the plus button, there will be labels for the frame. And it'll also have this place object text. I don't know what that means. I'm sure someone who actually works with Flash will know it. Notice this has no percentage loading. Go to frame 2. I will try to edit that out. That was really loud. Okay, and here you actually can see, sorry about that, here you can actually see an actual screen of the game. Right? Maybe Z1 here, your name here, bank, how many Zs you have in total. You just keep pressing the spin button. Let me see, is there anything else here? Yeah, this has some of the frames. This has some of the sprites that we've already seen, some of the buttons we've already seen. Notice this is combining some of the morph shapes as well as the text and the buttons. This is loading kind of fast. Let me see if I can play it slower. Notice if I use these two, it'll go frame by frame. This is just saying you want a rare power item. Yeah, there you go. And another cool thing, so this is basically the main workhorse of the game. I'm not sure exactly what the difference between this stuff here as well as these frames. This is the actual code. This one shows action script and this one shows the P code. Do I know what that means? No, but I assume Flash has both these sources of code, I assume. Notice there are some functions defined here. This shows the loading percentage, I'm assuming. This is supposed to be a script file, a movie clip that's being loaded here. Go to this side, basically has the same thing. I don't know why there's two. Notice this one is initializing, gets your user info here. It looks like, I'm not sure, but maybe this is like a default Flash function, but it probably isn't a default Flash function because we have this random species thing here. Maybe this is actually loading like what's the term? Like a seed. Maybe this is actually like loading a random seed about what your roles are going to be in advance before you actually press the spin button. There's debug settings here. Here's your username info. Just basically grab your user info. There's a mute button here. Use the function randomly pick orbs. If the random number is less than blah blah blah, you win this prize, and so on. Check for 2. That's how you check for two orbs. Function select 1 orb. Let's see if there's anything that's interesting here. Transfer bonus, clear with character, set end colors. These are just showing different little things that'll load up, and that's Xcellerator. Let me see if I could actually just switch right away to the next screen. Okay, perfect. So this is Xevoz Descent. Notice here, I didn't show it in the other in the other game because it was actually really loud. But this, if you click on your SWF file at the front, it'll show you a preview. Notice it's called SWF Preview Internal Viewer. And I think basically what it just does is it goes through a lot of the sprites or a lot of the, you know, a lot of the animations in the game. It just gives you a top to bottom preview. Alright, stop playing that. Let's look at some of these shapes. If you notice, there's like a robot here. I think the robot would actually hold this red ball in this claw, and you would drop it. So again, my memory is not the best. Notice we have different balls. A lot of different shapes. Also, I'm going to show this in a second, but they actually have these are cropped versions of the wallpapers we saw earlier, which are really cool. See if there's anything interesting with these morph shapes. I'm not sure. They're just like rotating items, rotating the background stuff. Sprites. Nothing too interesting here. Text. You are Xevoz Descent Master. Would you like to play again? This is the cool part. Let's see. So this is one of the backgrounds for the game. Not sure what these are. Presumably these are some of the balls you could drop. I think another background for the game. Official, logo. And this is a cropped version of the insectoid background we saw earlier. This one, who would this one be for? I think this is one for the animal. Sorry, I know it's not called the animal faction, but this one I think is for like the undead thing, undead faction. Sorry. This was the cool thing we saw earlier. Neo Sapiens, probably. Maybe Biomecha, is that what they're called? I think this background is actually used in the Xevoz graffiti game as well. But yeah, you can see they're basically they use a lot of their assets. There are sounds here. I don't know how loud they are. Okay, I don't want to click anymore, just in case it's too loud. But there you go. Bunch of different sounds for you to look at. Okay, here's what's cool. Let's look at these frames. So we got a loading screen here. Oh, sorry. It's kind of loud. The first level. Notice, I think the way it works, ball will drop here, start to go down, and you want it to just fall into one of these three locations. Let's see if there's any interesting frames up here. Looks like this is the same level, slightly altered. I don't know why. Oh yeah, I think your hand would sort of rotate at the top. Not rotate, but it would sort of like swing around. You'd have to time it so it would just drop into the stuff. That's kind of loud and creepy. Another level. I don't know why it says level 1.1. Is this all the same level? Maybe it is. Different configurations. Okay, sorry. I'm gonna switch. I don't know why it has that really weird, creepy sound. There you go. Here are some of the. It won't let me preview them, but here are some of the sprites. It's probably the loading screen once you actually beat a level. You know, you'd have this loaded. This is a ball falling down. Sorry, I know that's kind of annoying. Anything else interesting here? I don't know what this is about, but that's kind of cool. And if you remember earlier, we were looking at the morph shapes. Notice how, you know, when you're looking at Flash content, like how many little small components have to be added together to achieve, you know, the semblance of motion and I don't know, aliveness. Notice here, just got more script files if anyone's interested. Maybe you can get this to work. I'm kind of doubtful, but feel free to look at it. Look at this. It says function initializing level. It'll pop up with some different messages. If the ball is less than 375, I guess this is like a height, maybe like a y coordinate, or I guess since it says x, this is probably an x coordinate. Does this, then this is what happens. While, you know, the door's length is less than I, something, you know, and so on. So it's kind of cool. It's really cool to actually look at how they make the game. And it looks like it goes to level 3-3. Well, that's basically it. I'm trying to see if there's like anything else interesting here, but I wasn't able to find a version of the other games, except for the ones I've shown already, that have their assets that are properly saved like this. I'm assuming that when Wayback Machine saved them, or some other website had them, you know, they didn't have all of those assets, which is why even if you save those SWF files, for instance, I don't know, Xevoz Graffiti or Xevoz Excavator, you're not, they basically won't have these assets saved in the SWF file because the archiver just didn't grab them. Although I could be wrong, I could be missing them. If you're really interested in actually checking up on all of these, what I would do is I'd go to the Internet Archive page, go to the games page, and once you're on the actual games like SWF archive page, just go through every single instance that it's been archived and try to see if you can find a version where these assets still exist. Alright, so I think that's going to be it for me. This has been me fooling around, having fun, looking at this old Xevoz stuff. Maybe there'll be some people interested in this. I hope it's been interesting, and thanks for watching.